My name is Chaplain Gail Kroc, and I'm with Connie Case, and we're here to talk to you about the Adolescents Children's Program at Spiritual Care. It all started about 3 years ago. I received a call from another state, and the gentleman on the other end of the phone said, "I would like you to be able to help my niece who is in a psychiatric ward." He said she's been in a terrible state since she's been 5 years old, hearing voices at 5, and then later on in her teenage years began to start cutting, and she had been for help in several places, had a couple of psychiatric ward stays, and her mom and dad were told that she would really never get any better than that. And so when he asked me if we would help her, at this point Spiritual Care had never worked with a teenager before. We had just worked with adults, but I thought, well, the process works really well with adults. We'll use the same process with teenagers and children. We'll just have to adapt it a little bit because now, 3 years later, working with children, we give God the glory because our success rate is 89% with the hardest of issues. It's amazing what happens when Christ's presence comes in your process and someone really begins to recover quite rapidly. So the young lady came to us. We got her out of the psych ward and she came under our care. Now I want you to know that if you work in a psychiatric ward, we're very happy for you. And we're not against that at all in any way, shape, or form. But she needed a place to go for counseling, and they were hoping we could help her. And about 3 months later, what happened was there was a tremendous breakthrough. The cutting and the voices stopped. We got to the root of the issue, and now 3 years later, she's doing great. She's out there using her tools. So you might be thinking, what is it that you do in the children's program? Well, we go back for the feelings and the emotions and the memories of the past that on your worst day you can't get them out of your mind. We go back for the healing of memories from traumatic events. Then we talk about new pathways, new ways of thinking, because if you get inner healing but you don't break the way you think or break the lies you believe, you will go back to your old ways. Now I have Connie Case here, and Connie, you have been in several sessions with the teenagers and with children. You want to share with whoever's watching today what it's been like for you to see children transformed.
I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for a very long time. My practice has mostly been with adults, and towards the end of my career it was with older adults. But I seeing the things that went on with my grandchildren and their friends and hearing their stories, I began to understand that our world had changed so much, and that our young people are dealing with issues that we never even thought of. When Gail asked me to come and sit with some of the children's sessions, I thought, oh boy, what are we going to get into? How do we handle this? How do you reach them? And then I remembered that Gail told me my job was to pray. Mm-hmm. Just pray. And the first one or two I saw, the children walked in with their parents. There was a lot of defensiveness, a lot of attitude, and yet they were shut down. They really didn't trust anybody anymore. And I thought, oh boy, Lord, what do we do now? And I did begin to pray and say, Lord, it's in your hands. I know that Gail has the tools for these kids, and we just need to let you work. And as I began to see them more than once with Gail, the attitudes dropped. There began to be some smiles. There began to be some interchange. They began to talk with Gail, and they began to trust him. And as I listened to him continue to tell them how much they were loved, how much Jesus loved them, and began to teach them the tools, to see them come in with excitement, rather than that attitude, that defensiveness. There was hope in their face, there was light in their eyes, and they began to exchange back and forth with Gail. And now as I see them come down the hall, they're not dragging their feet and frowns and sad faces. They actually are coming in anticipation of what they're going to learn.
Now, has the recovery taken a long time?
No.
It's been quite rapid,
It's
hasn't
been
it?
really quick.
Now I want to say something interesting enough, because we've just launched really this new area in spiritual care. For quite a while it was basically myself working with the kids, but now we've also brought on Danielle White to work with me, and we have a whole team of people now working with children. We have consultants and prayer partner team, and so now it's more than just me. Danielle White has a specialty with adolescents and children, and then you couple that with prayer partners that are praying. And Connie, you mentioned something really important. You said prayer, because when I look at a young person, a teenager or a child, I ask myself, what is the key that unlocks the door for that young person? You find that key and you can find breakthrough. Everybody that comes in is a treasure. So I try to ask myself, what is the treasure in that child or in that teenager? And as a team, we are beginning to work together to help these children and teenagers discover their treasure, discover who they are, come into healing, overcome the past, and develop new pathways. And the recovery time has been incredible, where someone who was in and out of the psych ward since 5 years old, in 3 months has a breakthrough, and in a year is totally free, and now 3 years later is doing marvelous. And we give God the glory for that. And there's been many times, I know as a team, we've been in session, and I said, Lord, what's the key to help this young person find their freedom? And so it's been an exciting journey with the young people. And you know, if you have questions about this, you can feel free to give spiritual care a call at 269-929-2901, because we would like to talk to you more about what we're doing. And I just want you to always know there's hope. And this is truly a free service. So, in other words, it's no cost to you who are watching. You know what? If you've been everywhere else and it's not working, and that's actually how we started to see kids, where our parents would call and say, no, we've been everywhere else. Our child isn't getting any better. Can we come to you and give your process a try at spiritual care? And I said, well, sure, bring your child in and we'll pray for God's wisdom and direction and insight to know how to help your child or your teenager. So parents will bring their children and teenagers in and sit down, and we'll begin the ministry process. And I truly do want to give God all the glory for the great things He's done, because our success rate continues to be 89%, and I feel pretty good about that. But I know the success rate is because of the great team we have and the great Lord we serve. We are in 2 places. We are in Family Tree Medical in Hastings. That's one of the main locations that works with children and adolescents. But we're also in Muskegon in the Hackley Community Care Center. So if you have a child or a teenager that is struggling and you want to learn more about what we're doing, I just would invite you to give us a call and learn more about the Adolescents Children's Program. And once again, the phone number is 269-929-2901, and our website is www.spiritualcareconsultants.com.